at the centre of it in terms of press attention right now is Prince Andrew, who, was until recently one of the heirs to the throne. It doesn't get more serious, really, for the UK or the monarchy.
It does not. And I think that's why you're seeing on both sides of the Atlantic a resounding cheer to who we all know was the muscle moving Prince Andrew out of the royal family as best he could. Prince William, who is really showing what he is made of, his mettle, and what he will be like as king. As an aside, I think that was also a warning shot fired across the bow to Harry and Meghan in Montecito. Keep it up. You're next. Now, the question really is, what, if any, fallout will Virginia Giuffre's posthumously published memoir bring about? I don't know about you, Piers, but the longer this scandal drags on, and really, yes, Andrew will live out the rest of his days in shame and disgrace. As you said, who really is paying for him to...
Piers Morgan and Maureen Callahan have finally gone out of their minds. Two fading relics clinging to microphones that have long stopped echoing truth. Two shadows of a decaying media empire trying to survive on the fumes of Meghan and Harry's name. What began as mere gossip has become an addiction, a sickness that has rotted their credibility to the core. Their latest remarks are not journalism, they are confessions of irrelevance. When Piers Morgan barked, "This was a warning shot fired to Meghan and Harry in Montecito. Keep it up, you are next," he wasn't speaking from strength, he was trembling from desperation. When Maureen Callahan called Prince William the driving force behind removing Prince Andrew from royal life, she wasn't praising leadership, she was polishing a crumbling crown with lies. These are not analysts, they are crisis actors in the theatre of tabloid collapse, dragging whatever remains of their dignity through the mud of bitterness. For years, Morgan has built an entire identity on hating Meghan Sussex, the very woman who lives rent-free in his thoughts and nightmares. He has become a caricature of jealousy, an echo chamber screaming into itself. His warning shot remark is not only unhinged, it is grotesque, a public meltdown disguised as commentary. What kind of man warns a peaceful couple living thousands of miles away, who have done nothing but build charities, raise children, and try to live privately? It is the behaviour of a stalker, not a journalist. Morgan cannot handle that Meghan rejected his obsession, that Harry chose love over the cold machinery of the institution that Morgan worships. Every insult he spits is an unpaid therapy session broadcast live. He is not exposing the Sussexes. He is exposing his own unhealed wound, rejection, bitterness, and fading relevance. Maureen Callahan's praise of William is no less absurd. She called him the driving force behind pushing Prince Andrew out of royal life, as if William's PR department didn't feed her the line like a hungry bird begging for crumbs. The hypocrisy burns like acid. The same tabloids that shielded Andrew for decades now pretend that William heroically exiled him. The truth is, the palace moved only when the scandal became too loud to hide. There was no courage, only damage control. Yet Callahan, ever eager to polish the palace narrative, dutifully parroted it without question. She is not reporting, she is performing. Her words are not praise, they are propaganda dressed as prose. Together, Morgan and Callahan represent the last gasp of the old British and American tabloid order, an order built on distortion, cruelty, and obsession with destroying those who refuse to play the royal puppet game. Meghan Sussex shattered their script. She refused to be the silent woman smiling through racism and intrusion. Harry refused to watch history repeat itself. And for that act of defiance, these two self-appointed inquisitors have been howling ever since. They see the Sussexes' peace as their own irrelevance, and so they must invent chaos to stay alive. Their studios have become echo chambers of envy, their columns dripping with the venom of defeat. Piers Morgan has turned his entire career into a vendetta. He cannot form a sentence without invoking Meghan's name. She is his oxygen and his downfall. Every time he tries to move on, he circles back, like a moth addicted to the flame that scorches him. His show's ratings spike only when he attacks her. His social media thrives only when he mentions her. He has chained his legacy to the woman he claims to despise, proving that she controls him more than he could ever control her narrative. He mocks Harry for leaving the palace, yet he is the one trapped, imprisoned by his own bitterness, suffocating in the cage of his obsession. The man who once called himself a journalist has become a tabloid ghost, whispering threats to a couple that long stopped listening. Callahan, meanwhile, performs the American echo of that same sickness. Her columns read like royal press releases typed in panic. She praises William as if he were a savior, rewriting history to make him appear decisive, clean, noble, anything to distract from his inertia and jealousy. She paints Andrew's exile as William's triumph, ignoring the fact that it was public outrage, not princely courage, that forced the palace's hand. She ignores that William himself spent years avoiding any statement, hiding behind palace spokespeople while Meghan was vilified daily for far less. Callahan calls this leadership. The rest of the world calls it hypocrisy. What makes their commentary even more ridiculous is that both Morgan and Callahan pretend to defend the monarchy while actively rotting its foundation. Every time they open their mouths, they remind the world of the cruelty, racism, and double standards that drove Harry and Meghan away. They cannot protect the crown by lying for it. They only expose how fragile it has become. Their language, threats, sneers, performative praise, is not patriotism. It is propaganda from people terrified that truth has finally found its audience. When Morgan calls his rant a warning shot, it reveals the sickness of tabloid culture, a world that believes intimidation is journalism. His words are not witty, they are reckless. He speaks like a man who believes he still has power, unaware that his influence evaporated the day Meghan refused to play his game. He believes he is sending a threat. The world hears a cry for attention. Each insult exposes a man begging not to be forgotten. Every televised sneer is another nail in the coffin of his credibility. He wanted to scare Meghan and Harry, but the only thing trembling now is his reputation. Callahan's praise of William is no better. It reeks of sycophancy. She writes as if William personally stormed Buckingham Palace and carried Andrew out by force. The reality is that the palace, under public pressure, quietly arranged Andrew's exile, while William remained silent. Yet Callahan's article tries to rewrite that history, selling fiction as fact. Her words serve one purpose: to feed the illusion that the monarchy is moral, while vilifying the only royals who chose integrity over silence. It is the coward's version of storytelling, journalism without honesty, analysis without courage. Both Morgan and Callahan expose the same weakness. They cannot function without Meghan and Harry. Their careers orbit the very couple they claim to despise. Their paychecks depend on the Sussex name. Their headlines exist because Meghan continues to live gracefully, happily, untouched by their venom. Without her, they have nothing to say. Every article, every rant, every mock interview is a recycled tantrum about a couple who left them behind. They are addicts of outrage, and Meghan is the mirror that shows them what they could never be: authentic, successful, and free. Morgan's obsession has become folklore. He has turned himself into a symbol of tabloid decay, a man so consumed by hate that he cannot remember what truth sounds like. He warns the Sussexes of consequences, as if he commands armies. In reality, he commands embarrassment. Each broadcast is a ritual of self-humiliation dressed as commentary. He threatens, they thrive. He mocks, they rise. The contrast is biblical. Meghan and Harry live in sunlight, raising children, building foundations, investing in humanity. Morgan and Callahan sit under studio lights, sweating through scripts of resentment. Callahan's journalism, if it can still be called that, serves the same purpose as Morgan's tantrums: to distract from the rot at the heart of the institution she worships. She would rather invent William's heroism than confront the truth of royal complicity. She would rather write fiction than admit that the monarchy's only remaining moral authority comes from the very couple she attacks. Her praise of William for exiling Andrew is laughable. It is an attempt to launder royal failure through empty words. If that is what she calls bravery, then truth has no place in her columns. What unites both of them is fear. Fear that Meghan and Harry have built a new model of royalty that no longer requires tabloid approval. The Sussexes speak directly to people. They do not need newspapers to translate their values. Their success proves that authenticity, kindness, and independence can triumph over manipulation. For Morgan and Callahan, that truth is unbearable. It strips them of power. So they lash out, using the only weapons they have left: lies, projection, and jealousy. Their audiences are shrinking, their credibility evaporating, their anger looping endlessly like broken records. The public has grown weary of the same script: Meghan the villain, Harry the fool, William the saviour. It no longer sells. The world has moved on, and they cannot stand being left behind. So they invent new provocations: warning shots, praise, analysis, hoping to stay relevant in a culture that has already buried the old tabloid order. Each time they attack Meghan, the backlash grows stronger. Each time they defend the indefensible, they lose another shred of respect. There is something poetic in their downfall. The more they speak, the smaller they become. The more they lie, the more Meghan and Harry's truth shines. Morgan's voice, once loud, now echoes through empty halls of outrage. Callahan's columns, once amplified, now circulate like stale air. They are not feared anymore. They are pitied. They are not critics. They are clowns performing for applause that never comes. Meghan and Harry, meanwhile, do not need to respond. Their silence is the ultimate rebuttal. Every project, every act of kindness, every appearance filled with purpose is a reminder that peace beats propaganda. While Morgan fumes and Callahan fabricates, the Sussexes flourish, raising children who will know love, not fear, building businesses rooted in integrity, not deceit. Their existence alone humiliates their detractors. They have transcended the noise, and in doing so, they have rendered Morgan and Callahan irrelevant. Piers Morgan's warning shot is therefore nothing more than a nervous cough in the void. Maureen Callahan's royal praise is a desperate curtain call before the theatre closes. Together they represent the same failing empire, an empire of gossip crumbling under the weight of truth. The monarchy they defend no longer inspires awe, it inspires investigation. The couple they attack no longer need defense, they symbolize evolution. In the end, history will remember Morgan and Callahan not as journalists but as relics of a cruel age. They spent their final professional years shouting at love, warning joy, and mocking compassion. And in doing so, they exposed themselves, not Meghan and Harry, as the real cautionary tale. When the smoke clears and their microphones fall silent, the world will see what remains: two voices drowned by the very decency they tried to destroy.
To all my amazing and curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching our videos, and do not forget to subscribe, like, and put a comment. Bye bye. See you in our next episode. Bye.